Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Devil Fruit Ideas, this time part 15 featuring the hair fruit. Now, I got the name, power, and concept all from the inspiration of Sindel from Mortal Kombat. She's something of like a banshee queen that can also control her hair. For those who don't know, she has the power to scream like crazy sonic waves, but we're removing that aspect of her for now, and we're just gonna focus on the hair. Now, there's other inspirations I drew from as well for this, notably Kumidori, from One Piece and Enies Lobby. What if he had a devil fruit and it was his hair power? He was quite a formidable force with life control or life return, using that technique to control his hair at will. He successfully restrained Nami, almost beat Chopper. It was a fantastic usage of his hair, right? So it got me thinking, what if there was a hair devil fruit? Really quick, if you could subscribe and maybe give me a like and a comment down below, that would be very much appreciated. Now back to the video. So the power of this devil fruit allows you to control your hair at will at all times without the need to use life return. Now, obviously, getting control of the power life return would make you an amazingly strong opponent, but it's not necessary to utilize this fruit. So, basic powers of this fruit. One, upon even eating the devil fruit, your hair will grow exponentially until you train yourself to stop it. It won't grow like 1 inch per second or anything like that, but it will get quite unruly and very bushy and powerful looking. Like, you'll look almost like Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but without the spikes, From there, when you start to utilize the fruit, you can, bunch it up to like spike forward a couple times. You can use it to restrain enemies. You can use it to, lift yourself higher off the ground. You can use it to grapple objects from from far away. You can shape it into like hands and fists. You can basically utilize this to extend your reach any way, shape, and form that you can think of. As long as your hair allows you to do it, it will do it. Now, not to be weird, but obviously it will control the other hairs on your body. And I don't think we need to get into that for this video. So, do with that information what you will, especially if you're using this devil fruit for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, which there will be a section in the video for the application of how to translate this to D&D further. So, going past just the basic power of this, there are some things that you would need to know for this devil fruit, such as the weakness. Now, all devil fruit users, especially of the paramecia variety, which this devil fruit is, would be weak to water. All devil fruit users have it, but they're also weak to losing incredible amounts of stamina the longer they use their power for. That's like a typical known paramecia weakness. The more you use the power, the more it drains your energy. You can die from doing this. But the hair fruit will suffer, like Pokemon, a 4 times weakness, super effective against water. Water will mess up this devil fruit just like Crocodile's devil fruit, because as long as your hair is wet, obviously you're not going to have the strength to use it. Even if you are not underneath water or submerged at the waistline like that, that's what causes most devil fruit users to become weak, right? We've seen devil fruit powers used in the water before, most notably Charlotte Oven stuck his forearm like this far into his forearm into the water and boiled the ocean around him. But with the hair fruit, you can't be doing all that. The second your hair is drenched, regardless of how far you are in the water as far as your body goes, the minute your main hair area that you plan to use your power with is drenched, it's over. You can't use it until it's dry. Now, you can obviously get a little bit creative and find ways to dry your hair faster, but yes, not only do you suffer a strength weakness to being submerged in water, but your hair also suffers the same weakness to being wet. As long as it is wet, like too wet to stand up on its own, it's not working, okay? So here, let's go into the powers, abilities, utilities, and named attacks. Now in One Piece, people have like puns, right? Even in Mortal Kombat, Sindel has some very good hair puns for her moves. One of them is like follicle something. So I was thinking maybe like folly crush. You bunch up a lot of your hair and extend it, grow it very far out, and make like a Green Lantern almost style construct with your hair. You can make like a club, a big fist, and you just kind of like grip them with it or hit them with it and smash them down into the ground. Follow crush. Now, some other things that you could probably do is you can train your scalp, to extend, like to handle extreme amounts of pressure and like torque against your hair. So what I'm saying is you could do stuff like eventually wrap your hair around like the side of a boat and rip chunks of it off, like how Big Mom was attacking this Thousand Sunny and just breaking chunks of it, You can use your hair to, like I said, grapple onto places from very far away and use the bottom, use the rest of your hair to like push yourself up, kind of creating like a Spider-Man flying effect, You'll be swinging around crazy, you'll be gripping things crazy, and you'll be able to like keep your aerial momentum going. Now, I don't think you can make like hair wings unless you have, unless you've achieved like awakening or something along those lines, which we will get into a little bit deeper in the video. But for the most part, your main powers and abilities are going to be like hair-related puns, utilizing your hair into different shapes and weaponry to suit your combat needs, and utilizing your hair to grapple onto areas or extend your reach or lift you into the air, because your hair will be strong enough to lift up your body weight unless you are just extremely overweight, So being able to extend your hair, being able to grab things with it and control it without the need of life return, and being able to form the hair into different shapes will be your main bread and butter for this devil fruit. Now, to go a little bit deeper into that, we have the hockey preference. So this one, I know it's going to sound weird, but I'm going to choose observation hockey over armament, because armament is amazing, but with observation hockey, you can station yourself somewhere unseen, you can coat yourself in your hair, and anyone that even moves within like, 100 feet of you, as long as you have your hair feelers out, laid out like roots in the ground like a tree, you'll be able to know exactly where they are. And in tandem with observation hockey, you'll be able to pinpoint multiple enemies at once, or you'll be able to see your opponent's attack coming so much faster than your opponent will know. Then you'll be able to extend your hair through the ground or around the building or around any type of cover and attack them from there. And with greater application and strength and training of the fruit, you could do something like make like a hair hand, or just an extreme amount of one part of your hair growing and reaching around and grabbing them, restraining them into the ground, restraining them up against the wall, restraining them up in the air even, and use the remaining part of your hair or yourself, because not only does this devil fruit give you extra limbs via your hair, you are still active, Like in Mortal Kombat 11, Sindel uses like a naginata to extend her reach with her hair. So in tandem, she's kind of like a Whitebeard almost in that game, because she's got her screaming powers, she's got her hair going, but when all else fails, she whoops out the naginata and just starts hitting people with a spear that's half the screen. So she makes up for all her weaknesses with that weapon. But in Mortal Kombat 1, she's more of a intense, in-your-face brawler character that utilizes her hair flips and her athleticism to put you in the air and keep you away with her hair. Another power I didn't name earlier in the video that just kind of like came to me now is in Mortal Kombat 1, she has a projectile called Hairball, where she whips like a bunch of hair on the ground and sends it forward. I don't really know if detaching your hair should be an ability, because you would no longer be controlling it, right? But at the same time, I could see detaching a small portion of your already grown hair, cutting it and yeeting it at people, but I just don't really see if that's a useful application. If you think so, let me know down below, okay? Now, so we've got past hockey preference, but there's also Rokushiki compatibility. And contrary to popular belief, life return I do not think is one of the Rokushiki powers. I think it's easier for you to learn when you are learned all 6 of the Rokushiki techniques. But for the most part, I think, your standard Tekai, which is like iron skin, using that with your hair, I think that would make you a very dangerous person, and that's why you wouldn't necessarily need armament haki as long as like you're using Tekai, because you can make up for those shortcomings of not having armament haki with Tekai, just coating yourself in steel hair. You know, and you know, vice versa. If you don't know Tekai but you have armament haki, you can just, you know, keep them together in tandem, pick one over the other. They each offer their own different variants. Like Tekai is less straining on your body, but it does not allow you to move unless you are very well trained in Tekai, as we saw with Jabra and with Bluno, I believe. Like when Bluno was doing his cartwheel, if you remember, his body was completely straight and rigid, and he was like just like spinning forward that way. But, you know, I wouldn't choose armament haki necessarily, because then you are draining your stamina while using your devil fruit power and while accessing your haki. Hey guys, after editing Ricky, and my bad, I forgot to mention that armament haki preference with this devil fruit could actually be good, because you can use a whip like the one Simon Belmont uses in Castlevania and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So outside of haki preference and Rokushiki compatibility and, you know, using your named attacks, there is the awakening, right? Every devil fruit has the potential to awaken. And for this one, I would say it's not necessarily like Doflamingo and Katakuri's awakening, where you are growing, like you would turn, you know, objects on the ground or the environment itself into hair. I think the awakening for this would maybe be like kids in a way, where you were affecting other things around you, but not turning it into your devil fruit, right? Kid's not making magnets out of people. He's like controlling the polarity around them, or like of them, which I guess does make them a magnet, but he's directly controlling like a south point and a north point to create the magnetism effect, right? So for this devil fruit, I think your awakening would then be to manipulate other people's hair, even animals and anything with hair. And I think the ability to manipulate hair on other people and animals, like the only person you would have to worry about is One Punch Man. Anyone bald without body hair, like a completely hairless person with superpowers, just run away, just run the opposite direction. But until that happens, being able to do something like, you know, let's say you're a villain with the hair fruit, Luffy's coming at you, and you grow his hair so much that he can't really move, even though he has super strength. You restrain him with his own hair, tie him up, and move him out of the way, right? That would then let you go into fighting the other Straw Hats, where you would only really have to worry about Jinbei and Zoro. I don't really necessarily think fire would be an outright weakness of yours, because although fire does do immense damage to hair, because you can just grow your hair at will, you would be able to, you know, outgrow the part that's burned and get rid of it. Now, like I said, I don't think detaching your hair is a good idea, but in that case it would be, because you just grow. Now, that would also, you know, you would have to take time in combat to outgrow your hair and regrow that spot back. But you see what I mean? It's not necessarily as debilitating as being wet or getting your hair chopped off directly. And although the devil fruit, I think it should give you an enhanced strength in your hair, I don't think you are cut immune. So that is, you know, a notable weakness. But from the ability of growing your hair and keeping it stronger, being able to utilize multiple limbs, being able to lift yourself in the air, being able to restrain multiple opponents at once, and being able to form weaponry out of your hair, I think this is a very strong and powerful devil fruit. With the potential awakening of controlling other people's hair around you, it would definitely make you a force to be reckoned with. And then going further and leaning into the One Piece side of things, you know, getting your Rokushiki or choosing a haki preference, I think observation haki would be the way to go, and I think Tekai and Shigan would be, yeah, Tekai, Iron Skin, and Finger Pistol would probably be your two best bets. We even saw Kumadori was about to do Finger Pistol with his hair, right? So that's, you know, a very strong power. I don't think you would need to worry about doing things like shave and airwalk with your hair. Although maybe airwalk, like using your hair to like smack air off the ground, you might be able to achieve a similar effect like Sanji's Skywalk variant, you know? So that is not necessarily a bad idea, actually. So, you know, just think about that kind of stuff. You know, I'm not gonna lie, the other 3 Rokushiki powers escape me right now, so I'll edit them into the video and I'll highlight the ones in red that I think would actually be useful, because, you know, not all Rokushiki powers are useful for everyone. Now, the alternate variants of this devil fruit. I think maybe being able to control like the awakening part as just the main power itself maybe would be a good alternate variant, or just being able to grow hair out of anything, but you know, you're not controlling your hair, you're summoning hair out of the ground and stuff. That would be wacky, but you know, it is possible. And really quick, I'd like to start like a little D&D portion of these videos now for people who are into that. So to translate this to D&D, I think first it would have to be like a once a day use power, or you know, maybe multiple times per day, you know, once per short rest, once per long rest. You can extend your hair and do powers with it. Now, basic powers I don't think should be limited to short, long rest, or even like once a day. I think like if you're using it simply to just extend and grab something, I think that should be fine, right? You might have to roll a dexterity check to make sure that you don't mess it up, but I don't necessarily think that this would mess you up. It's really up to you and your DM, right? I personally think dexterity is the way to go with this. Maybe intelligence or wisdom, you know, knowing how to like bend your hair at the right time and stuff like that. Maybe dexterity and wisdom would be your stats, right? Now for damage, I think it should count as multiple whips. That would just alleviate a lot of issues right there. 1d4 slashing, I think, is what a whip is. So, you know, I would say for every like large bunch of hair, you can do 1d4. But, you know, then this is when you can upgrade the damage, and this would be, you know, where you get into your short rest, long rest, once a day territory, where you're upgrading it to 3 or 4 d4 slashing damage with your hair, or, you know, you're rolling a strength check or a dexterity check of a grapple with advantage, and I think it would be fair to say you have advantage and your opponent has disadvantage. I think that's a nice long rest type power where you just grapple them really quick but with your hair, and there's not really much they can do about it, right? You can then go in there and just whip them around like Loki got whipped around like from, you know, like the Hulk in Avengers. And then going further, I think that you can like alleviate a lot of simple notions and actions in D&D with simply just using your hair. You know, like I said, grabbing objects from a really far distance in a dungeon or something like that, or like being able to take out a guard without anyone noticing, and maybe even controlling the armor like a puppet with the hair strings you have, you know, just stuff like that. For the most part, I think the 1d4 damage per like regular chunk of hair that you whip someone with is fair, especially if you're adding stat modifiers onto that. And I think also that it should not count as your regular attack. So it's like a bonus action. You have a bonus action to extend the hair and whip it on someone, grab them, and then do your turn like a fighter. I think it would actually really pair well with a fighter or a rogue class, maybe even a druid, but I don't really see it helping like a hunter, like a ranger, and a paladin, you know? So that's pretty much it for the D&D part. Let me know if there's other D&D applications you think the hair fruit could be used for, or just the power to extend your hair in general. The next video for the next devil fruit, I think I want to go with the claw fruit, which will be, you know, obviously the ability to create claws of different nature on your body. This would be almost like a Zoan fruit, but it's going to be a paramecia still. So what this one would make you is like Wolverine, but I want to take it a step further and add a little bit more stuff into it, which you'll see in the next video. Anyways, if you have any other ideas, as always, drop them down below. But since these videos are now restricted to 1 devil fruit each, I don't want you to get discouraged if yours doesn't make it into the next video. Just keep being persistent, just keep putting it in my face. It will make the list, I promise. And as always, paid devil fruit videos on my Ko-Fi for $5 get the priority. The week you pay is the week you will get that devil fruit video, straight up, okay? And from then on, I've been Merch Hunter Ricky, and I really appreciate you guys for sticking around and being patient while I change the format for these videos a little bit. Have a great day, everyone.